Hello and welcome to a video of me moving all these fish out of this tank, finally. So today's video we're going to be moving these fish, building another tank for them to go in, a temporary setup while I get this one sorted. But yeah, they'll be going outside, which is not what I wanted for winter, but we'll just have to deal with it. Fortunately I'll be using the heat pump off of this tank as well to keep them warm. But there we go. So what's actually wrong with this tank? So it's been problematic really since I put it in this tank. When I first put it in, I covered it all up and the humidity got all into the woodwork, just rotted it, and it started to split and bow and bend almost straight away, which was a mistake. It's one of the sort of issues you get with putting fish ponds indoors. The humidity is just a killer. Even this building's really suffered a lot, so I think we'll be taking it to bits, taking it out. I don't know if I'll be rebuilding it, I don't know if I'll be getting a new one, I haven't a clue yet. I'll just have to see how bad it is. I'll be doing a lot of work on this building as well. It's just going to have to be done. So what's actually happened is, obviously, I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but yeah, that's not straight. Even the window's bending, I don't know how that's happening. But yeah, I've just been sort of putting it off and putting it off, and that water trickling in there is not actually water that's overflowing or recycling like it should be doing. That's actually what's leaking out of the tank. So the tank has split somewhere and is leaking, and down there where you can see underneath you can hear water running out. So fun. Right, let's get on with building the tank. So this is the tank that they're going to be going in, a little bit smaller than what they're currently in. I have got two of these. Now we're going to put 1 and 2 together, but I'm worried about cold weather. So for now, until we sort of come into spring and there's no chance of it going freezing again, I'm just going to run 1, and then later on I'll probably add the second one to it and run them together. But yeah, it's just needs cleaning out. So I'm going to run this tank. This is going to be a separate system. The black tank is going to use this drum filter, and it's going to come flowing, and that I'm going to try my best to insulate it and see if I can find somewhere to put the air source heat pump on it to keep it warm. So yeah, let's start cleaning and that. That's a mess. So I decided to bring the other tank down. I thought, well, I'm doing it, I might as well just put both tanks on. So we've got this one and this one, and obviously they're both bottom drains. So what I'm going to do is, there's a T-junction on end of this one about here, and then it's going to, so the water's going to come here, out into this T-junction, that one's going to come out, and then it's going to go into a line that's going to come round the back of this filter, and I'll probably put the pump down there somewhere, and then it'll go into the UV light, into the heater, and then into the filter. That'll come out of the filter on this 4-inch line, and then what I'll do is I'll split it into two 2-inch lines there, and then it'll go into the separate tanks. And obviously what will happen then is, the more, say if you take the flow off of one of the tanks and put it all into one, then it'll just flow on that tank only and ignore that one. So you've got to split the 2 tanks water inlet so that the water also goes out of them both tanks. So they're acting as one tank, but obviously you've got to, whichever tank you put the most flow into gets the most flow through it, so you've got to sort it like that, if that made sense. Don't think it made sense to me, but there we go. Right, let's get on with that, plumbing it up. So I'm just filling them up. I've just put the hose pipe on in that. I'm not actually going to use hose pipe water to actually fill them, generally because that water's coming out I think about 4 or 5 degrees, something like that. And yeah, that's coming up in this tank, that. And if I end up filling it with 4 or 5 degree water, it'll take me a lot of electricity and a lot of energy to warm it up to the temperature of that tank. So I'm going to use the water out of that tank to fill them up properly. I'm just leak testing it, so I just want to see if it holds water. So what I've done is, obviously there's a pipe that comes out of here, and then it goes into this outlet, and then it comes into a pump which is sat just here. I don't know if I can get the camera down, see it? But yeah, the pump's just sat there, and hopefully it's not leaking. So yeah, this pipe comes out of that tank, round then to that T-junction there, and then into the pump. and then that goes around the back of this tank, across here, and then into that UV light there, where it'll go into a heater here, and then into this filter. I bought this thing last year, and I've not actually got round to using it for pond work really yet. I've done bits with it, but not much. It is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. It doesn't quite cut through a 4-inch pipe, so yeah, it just misses it. I mean, this is a 110 pipe, so it's even worse on a 4-inch pipe. But what you do is you just, when it's running, you just spin it like that, hold it square, and it cuts it perfectly. But with everything but 4-inch, I mean, you just pop it on and it cuts it lovely. Even the 4-inch flexible, this hose here, 4-inch, not 4-inch, even the 1.5 or 2-inch flexible that I use, I just put that on, hold it square, cut it. Oh, it's such a neat cut, it's lovely. One of the best things I've bought for, and it were an accident really, so if you are doing any pond work, these are quite cheap, these Evolution saws. This is the biggest one, you want the one with the biggest blade. But yeah, they're definitely worth it if you're doing quite a bit of pond cutting, pipe work and that. So we're ready for his first fire up. We've got the little bit of water in. The pipes come over there and over there, which I'll adjust them a little bit later on, so they definitely can't fall out as well. So I've stolen the heater off of this pond, but never mind. They're outside anyway, so it doesn't matter too much for now. But this pond will need heating because the indoor pond's a little bit warmer, and then I'll just gradually cool it down over a couple of weeks. So what I'm going to do is run the water that's in the bottom of there out. So let's turn it on, get the pump running, and we should hear it come into the drum. Because I want to keep the mucky water out. Yeah, like that. To make sure we get rid of some mucky water. There we go. Now we get rid of it almost. Let's turn that on. Right, and then once it fills the drum, if there's enough water, and that pond's empty. There's still some in that one. It's sucking air from that one, which isn't good. I probably need to put some more water in it, but it is filling up good. One of the things I have done, which I'm not keen on, is this. Let me turn that off. This actually gets controlled by a digital controller, which is in the caravan over there. And then that's got a remote thermostat, which is this white wire here. I've put it in the drum filter because I didn't want it trailing across the floor, but the only problem is with that is the drum filter is the warmest water. It's obviously straight after the heater, which I'm not keen on, but we'll see how we go with that. So at least the system's running. What I might do is fill it up a little bit more because I just want to purge out the water that's in it. So I'll get on with that. This is the other side, so there's that 4-inch pipe there, and then it comes to a, let me see if I can get closer, then it comes to a 4-inch to 2-inch reducer, goes to that T, and I put the T as close as I can because I wanted it to not limit the flow too much, going from the 4-inch to the 2-inch pipe. So, I mean, ideally I should have put like a 4-inch T in and then converted, but I didn't have one, so it's just going to have to be like that. And then it goes to the individual tanks. I'm sure it'll probably prefer one over the other. But what I'll probably do is change the outlets, so put like a 1.5-inch outlet on the one that's running faster or something like that, so that it sort of gets an even flow over both tanks, and then we should be right. So I'm going to have a go at pumping some water from the pond just to get it started, but I've put it in this mesh because these holes in this pump are definitely big enough for the fish to go in, which is something you've really got to think about when you're putting pumps in ponds. Or they'll definitely be all, well, it'll be a fish soup. But there we go, should be right in that. Let's have a go at pumping that. Right then, I've just got that tank filling up. Wow, that fills quick. So that's that pump filling the tank up. So I'm going to put this pump on to get the system running. Let's see what happens. I don't want to fill it yet, but I want it to just start flow and then I clean it out and such. Water's going somewhere anyway, it's draining out of this tank. Interesting. It's funny, you'd think it'd just... You wouldn't think it'd drain that tank with all the water in that one. There we go. Let's have a look in here. Is it running? It is. That's coming up nicely. Oh, look, we've got flow. That's good. Will you turn this pump off for me? So there we go, we're flowing in quite well. Can hear water leaking. That's a lot of water flow. Look at that. It's incredible. There we go, that's stopped. Right, let's go find some leaks, I think. Not sure. Right, I'll go for a leak hunt and get back to you. This is a 20,000 litre pump. And it's running really well, I'm quite surprised. But yeah, I'm going to clean this, I'm going to get this water out. Yeah, I think get this water out now and put some fresh in, start again. Right then, so this system's totally off except for the air and currently emptying, but in fact we'll find out which one holds more water, which pond holds more water, this one or them two. It'll be quite interesting. This one I usually says 1,000 gallon. So I think the two tanks should hold more water because I'm sure they're a bit more than 500 gallon each. In fact I thought they were 750, but I can't remember. It's been that long since I got them. I can't remember what they were, but we'll find out in a minute. I'm going to obviously not drain it completely. I'm going to leave a bit of water in it, then start catching fish and make sure that the other pond's the right temperature. There we go, we're coming up nicely. I don't think I'm going to run the pump at full speed. I think I might back it down a little bit, but it's running quite nicely. And yeah, it looks quite clean. Coming out of that pump, lovely as well. That's coming from the pond. This is a bit interesting. So this tank's been filled up, but the pump's obviously circulating. You'd think because this one's been filling up that the circulation pump had stopped sucking from this one, but it isn't doing that. I don't know whether you can tell on camera, but if I put it that way, look, this tank is about 4 or 5 inches higher than this one. So, but you'd think that it'd stop sucking water from this because there'd be more water pressure in that. Obviously it is filling this one up, but yeah, that's quite interesting, I think. Yeah, just don't balance out as quick as you'd think. Yeah, but obviously when it stops they'll be perfectly level with each other. Right then, we are full and we've got some fish in. Yeah, it's quite a lot of fish. You don't realise how many fish are in a tank until you start getting them out. Anyway, I've ended up putting some in this one as well. Realistically, I probably should have sorted them out so that I knew what were in each tank, but I've just put them in. But yeah, looking good. It's all running well, which is pleasing. Yeah, let's have a look at the other tank. So yeah, this tank holds more water than them two do, which has quite surprised me quite a bit because it's only dropped it to there, look. So there's still a bit of water in this tank. Really, I didn't realise. Actually, I don't know. I didn't realise how big this tank is really. I've just got used to it. You don't realise how big they are until they're empty. It's a decent sized little tank, and I need to catch these fish. I just thought I have to have a minute. Catching fish is very tiring. So there we go. Let's get all these fish out. Hopefully before dark, and then we're done for the day. Apart from covering them over. So here we are with the finished tanks. We've got a little bit of a jump. So the fish have been in it for quite a while, and they've been completely happy in these tanks. They've been doing all right. To be honest, they were better off in the other indoor tank. there were a bit more water in it, there were a bit more room in it, a better filter on it, that sort of job. And obviously it were a mature tank, it were all set up, so yeah, they were going to be better in the indoor tank than they are in this tank, but they are doing fine. As you can see, they're quite active. If you can see through the net, I don't know if the camera can. But yeah, so I put some insulation around the tank. I love this like bubble wrapping material stuff. It's pretty good. It really just keeps the wind off of the side of these type of tanks, and that one's the same. And it just stops the temperature from dropping, because obviously when they're fully exposed like this, they'll just drop in temperature quite easily on a night. But yeah, and obviously I put fine mesh on top of this one, because this apple tree loves to drop stuff all over it. Unfortunately the other one's not got a fine mesh on it. I really need to get another one of these nets. But yeah, everything's running perfectly. The drum filter's not let me down since I fixed it, which is great. I'm quite pleased with that. The air source heat pump's been running fantastic on the temporary setup. Yeah, everybody's happy. Even up fishes. They're always nuts, my fishes. There might be a slight green to these waters because I put acroflavin in it. For some reason, well, salt's gone expensive, and I usually salt my ponds when I move fish about and do anything, so I usually put quite a bit of salt in. But it's just so expensive, and then salt itself is really cumbersome and difficult to work with because it's so heavy. So I just thought I'm going to start using acroflavin. But the only disadvantage to acroflavin is everything ends up green. So I don't know if you can tell, there's a slight green to that tank. It's easier to see because there's not a green net on it. But yeah, the fish are happy. So there we go, you can see the fish is a little bit better with the net back, but they'll probably get scared and get out of the way, which is unfortunate. And yeah, so yeah, you can see the greenness to these tanks now. There we go. And there is some fish in this one as well, so there's about half the fish in each one, approximately. But obviously when you pull the net back, they don't really like that. They go a bit camera shy. Right, so I hope you liked this video. If you liked it, then please like it. If you want to see more videos like this and fishy related videos, then please feel free to subscribe. Any questions or comments, then please put them down below. And I shall see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.